I may fall in love too fast, give everything to make this last. That's just who I am, that's just who I am. I'll probably even put you first, and forgive you even when it hurts. That's just who I am, that's just who I am.
He said, your infinite knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high above me. I cannot reach it. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where could I flee from your presence? If I ascend up into heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, the place of the dead, which is known as hell, you're there. So God is everywhere. You can't escape him. He's there for you. He said, he'll never leave you nor forsake you. Lo and behold, he's always with you, even until the ends of the world. If I take the wings, verse 9, if I take the wings of the morning or dwell in the othermost parts of the sea, even there shall your hand lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. In other words, you can be at the bottom of the ocean, baby. You can be in space doing a venture for the United States or whatever country you're doing space exploration for. God is there. Now, why am I saying all this? Because you need to know that there's somebody in your corner. And that, you may be lonely, but alone and lonely are two different things. Alone just means all one, which means you can put yourself in a position where you're all one, complete, without the help of outside forces. Why? Because God makes you all one. As long as you have him, you're all one. Even the darkness, verse 11. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the night shall be the only light about me, even the darkness hide nothing from you, but the night shines as day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you. So, in other words, you might be in some dark places, but God still sees you. You might be some dark places in your life, but God knows that you're in that dark place, and he don't want you to stay in that dark place. You might be literally in a dark place, maybe in a prison cell, and you're wondering how you can experience freedom. Maybe you're trapped up in some kind of bondage, some kind of sin that is just bringing you down spiritually, and you don't want to stay that way, and it's dark, but God sees you in that situation. He knows, and he's saying, look, allow me to shine the light on that situation and pull you out of that situation. Don't stay in it. I don't care if it's okay with the world for you to do that. It's not okay with God. And I'm preaching to myself more than I'm preaching to anybody. Now, keep going. I will confess and praise you. No. For you did form my inward parts. You did knit me together in my mother's womb. Who did it? God. God formed your inward parts. He crafted you and shaped you while you were in your mother's womb. I will confess and praise you, David talking. And this is what you should be thinking of yourself. He said, for you did form me in my inward parts. You did knit me together in my mother's womb. I will confess and praise you. For you are fearful and wonderfully wonderful, and for the awful wonder of my birth. Wonderful are your works, and that my inner self knows right well. Now listen to this. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret. In other words, God knew exactly what he was doing. That when it comes to God, you're one, you're whole. Why? Because he's there with you. Wholeness himself is always in your presence. You're not broken. You're not injured, no matter what. You're not a wounded person. You're not a damaged person. And you're not hurt. As long as you stay plugged into God, the one who thinks of you all the time, you can never be broken, injured, wounded, or damaged, or hurt. You may be mentally, but spiritually you can't. And the spirit should be overriding the mental and the physical. You're not divided in parts. The wholeness eliminates defects, lack, flawlessness. In other words, God, who is whole, who has called us to be whole, when God created you, there was no defect, there was no flaw, there was no mistake. Now, I'm going to step on some toes. What do you mean by that? God, you might say, well, God made me a certain way. Check the scripture and see if that is true. God made you to be in his image. And for you to believe that you're a certain thing, that means God have to be that certain thing. God never made mistakes. He did not make a defect. He did not make you with a brain to think a certain way. Homeboy, he did not give you a woman's brain. Sister, he did not give you a man's brain. But I understand. We've come in a dispensation where, Adam failed. And because Adam failed, it's been hard for us to live to our superiority in God. And therefore the enemy began to come into our mind and into our body and into our thought process and into our experiences and begin to tell us certain things that we're not created in the image of God, that we're created in the other image, and that God made a mistake when it came to us. God did not make a mistake with you. God knew exactly what he made when he made you. He made you into his image. And as a person made into his image, we're made like him. We're not him, but we're made like him. And I'm going to prove this in the scripture. He said, my frame was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret, and intricately and curiously wrought, as if embroidered with various colors, in the depths of the earth, in the regions of the darkness and mystery. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book all of the days of my life were written before ever they took shape, when as yet there were none of them. In other words, God knew you before he formed you in the womb. He had a relationship with you as a spirit. And he began to take that spirit and put it into the form of a sperm, and the sperm made conception with the egg, and God began to craft you in that fashion. But the real you existed before you were made in that flesh, in that fashion where you became flesh. And God made you wonderful. God made you into his image. He said, your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book all the days of my life were written before it ever took shape. God has placed you in his book of life. You determine whether you stay in that book or not, but you're in God's book of life. Hope, precious and weighty are your thoughts to me, O God. How vast is the sum of them. If I can count them, God's thoughts toward you, they would be more in the number than the sands. When I woke, could I count the end? I would still be with you. In other words, you can't count the sands of a beach. Therefore, you can't count the thoughts of God and how he thinks about you. If you would only slay the wicked, O God, and the men of blood depart from me, who speak against you wickedly, your enemies who take your name in vain. Do I not hate them, Lord, O Lord, who hate you? And am I not grieved, and do I not loathe those who rise up against you? I hate them with a perfect hatred. They have become my enemies. Search me thoroughly, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there is any wicked or hurtful way in me, and lead me in the way of everlasting. That was David. And that was David cried to the Lord. And David began to tell us in this scripture that God knows us before he formed us in the womb. And you're not a mistake. What's on the outside do not determine who you are on the inside. I feel sometimes that I need to lose a little weight, but that don't determine who I am. I'm God's child. I'm a king. I can be 450 pounds. I can be 145 pounds. I'm still God's kid. You might have one leg. You might be burnt from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, and you feel that people look at me like I'm some kind of freak or something. You might have been in war and lost a few of your limbs. That's physical. That's physical thought processes that you're up against, because the enemy and some people is going to line up with the enemy and tell you you're this certain thing and you're not. Or you may be a beautiful person on the outside, but you've done some terrible things inside. You might thought you were God's gift to men and use your body to gain things. And then now you want to stop, and because your name been out there and people know who you are and what you did in the past, they're going to the devil going to use that to put a badge on you, and he's going to use people to enforce that badge that is on you. but that is not what God is doing.
Hate it. The love of Jesus is for all, even those that hate us. I know me and you ain't the same. What about love? I know me and you ain't the same. What about love? I know me and you ain't the same. What about love? I know me and you ain't the same. What about love?